What's up everybody and welcome to my Genji Spotlight. In this video I'm going to show you all of Genji's basic abilities and heroic abilities. I'm also going to show you his trait and all of the available talents that the Cyber Ninja from Overwatch brings to the Nexus. Now to show you all of those beautiful goodies, talents and abilities, I started a game on the beautiful Hanamura, which is basically Genji's home turf. Now let's talk about his basic abilities. His Q is called Shuriken, and it throws 3 shurikens in a spread pattern, dealing damage to the first enemy hit. It stores up to 3 charges. And as you can see, those are all flying out into slightly different directions. So the closer the enemy hero stands to you, the more likely you're going to hit those enemies with all 3 shurikens at the same time. His W is called Deflect. It has a 16-second cooldown, and it causes Genji to become protected for 1.25 seconds. Any damage blocked during this period causes Genji to throw a kunai towards a nearby enemy, prioritizing heroes and dealing damage as well. Now keep in mind that this ability prioritizes enemy heroes. So just for example, if there is an enemy minion standing nearby as well, the kunai will get shot at the hero instead of the minion, which is pretty cool mechanics, because otherwise I think this ability would feel a little bit underwhelming. Now keep in mind that similar to Varian's Shield Wall, this ability can be used to block a lot of powerful abilities like, let's say, Kel'Thuz's Pyroblast, for instance. It's going to be a really skill-based ability as well. Genji's E ability is called Swift Strike, and it causes him to dash forward, dealing damage to all enemies in a line, and it has a very interesting twist to it. Enemy heroes that got hit and die within a 2-second time window after being hit with Swift Strike cause the cooldown and the mana cost of this ability to be refunded. So similar to Li Ming's trait, if Genji actually hits an enemy target and that target then dies within 2 seconds, he gets an immediate cooldown reset and mana cost refund on Swift Strike, allowing him to dash in and dash out after a successful takedown. As you can see, the range of Swift Strike is very large, and thus becomes a perfect gap closer for Genji to both initiate a teamfight or disengage and get out of harm's way. Now, let's talk about Genji's trait. It is called Cyber Agility, and it can be activated to cause Genji to jump over the target area. Now, this allows him to cross impassable terrain, and there are talents like Pathfinder, for example, that grant him certain boosts after successfully doing so. Now, we're going to use Genji's trait to show you guys how much it adds to his overall combat performance and his mobility. We can dash over with a Swift Strike, or we can jump over this rock with his Cyber Agility trait. This causes Genji to become one of the most mobile melee assassins in the game. Alright, so that's it for his basic abilities and his traits. Now, let's actually take a closer look at his talents, including the heroic abilities at level 10. At level 1, you can choose between 3 talents. The first one is called Swift as the Wind. After hitting an enemy hero with Swift Strike, it increases Genji's movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. The next one is called Agile Dismount. While mounted, the range of your Cyber Agility trait is increased by 70% and its cooldown is reduced by 7 seconds. The last one is called Pathfinder, and it causes jumping over terrain with Cyber Agility to increase Genji's movement speed by 25% for 6 seconds. At level 4, you once again get to choose between 3 talents. The first one is called Shuriken Mastery. It is a quest talent, and it requires you to hit enemy heroes with your shuriken. After hitting 35 heroes, shuriken damage is increased by 30. After hitting 75 heroes, Cyber Agility now refunds 2 charges of shuriken. Next we have Dragon Claw. After Genji blocks 505 damage with Deflect, it can be activated to release a Dragon Claw, dealing 219 damage to all nearby enemies. The last one is called Strike at the Heart. Enemies hit by the end of Genji's Swift Strike take an additional 175 damage over 2 seconds. At level 7, you get to choose between 4 talents. The first one is called Augmented Guard. When Deflect ends, Genji gains a shield equal to 50% of the damage blocked for 4 seconds. Perfect Defense causes deflected damage to reduce the cooldown of Deflect by 2 seconds, up to a maximum of 10 seconds. Next in line, we have Dodge. And this talent causes Genji to dodge 1 heroic basic attack every 5 seconds. This talent stores up to 3 charges at the same time, allowing you to dodge 3 basic attacks for 100% of the damage. His last talent at level 7 is called Cyber Shield. Using Cyber Agility grants Genji 50 spell armor for 2 seconds. After hitting level 10 on Genji, you get to choose between 2 heroic abilities. The first one is called Dragon Blade. It causes Genji to unleash the Dragon Blade for 8 seconds. While active, Dragon Blade can be reactivated to lunge forward and slash in a huge arc, dealing 355 damage. If enemy heroes are killed within 2 seconds of being hit by the Dragon Blade, Swift Strike's cooldown is reset. So basically you have another way of resetting your Swift Strike's cooldown, not just by landing your E and killing someone, but also by getting taken down with Dragon Blade. This causes Genji to become much more mobile, much more powerful, and much more dangerous. Genji's second heroic ability is called X Strike. It causes him to perform 2 slashes dealing 200 damage. The slashes detonate after 1.25 seconds, causing an additional 416 damage to enemies hit in their area. X Strike feels like a very powerful gap closer. It allows you to dash forward, jump up in the air, becoming invulnerable for a short period of time, and dealing massive amounts of damage upon dropping to the ground. First, I'm going to show you how Dragon Blade feels and looks like. Here we go, we activate the Dragon Blade. Every click on our R or Q causes us to lunge forward, dealing heavy amounts of AoE damage. And if we then killed a target, or if we were part of a takedown after 2 seconds, we would get an immediate reset on our Swift Strike. This is basically Genji's trademark ability from Overwatch, and feels very powerful in the game on Heroes of the Storm. If you want to see what X Strikes looks like, the link to the gameplay video in which I'm going to demonstrate X Strike can be found in the video description down below, so feel free to click on that link, and there you basically get to see Genji's second heroic ability live in action. Let's focus on Genji's 13 talents. The first one is called Shingan, and after hitting an enemy with all 3 shurikens at the same time, Genji deals bonus damage on the same target. Next we have Flow Like Water. Each enemy hero hit with Swift Strike reduces its cooldown by 3 seconds. Last but not least, at level 13 we have Double Jump. Cyber Agility stores 2 charges, but its cooldown is also increased by 5 seconds. At level 16 we have Reflect. Deflect also deals an additional 33% of the damage blocked. Final Cut. After 1 second, Swift Strike deals an additional 208 damage to all enemies in the area. And last but not least, we have Steady Blade. Each enemy hero hit by Swift Strike increases the damage of the next Swift Strike by 20%. This damage can stack up to 3 times. Now, let's talk about Genji's Storm talents at level 20. He can choose between 4 talents. The first one is called The Dragon Becomes Me. Each time Dragon Blade hits an enemy hero, the duration of Dragon Blade is increased by 1 second. Next is Living Weapon. Each enemy hero hit by X Strike reduces its cooldown by 12 seconds. Nanosteel Shuriken causes Shuriken to now pierce all enemies hit. And finally we have Zanshin. This is a quest talent. Zanshin requires you to block 6,500 damage with Deflect. It also puts all the damage that you previously deflected into account. So you're not going to start at 0 at level 20. Instead, you have a nice chunk of damage deflected already to go with. As a reward, Zanshin will cause Deflect to hit all nearby enemy heroes, rather than just one. Alright everybody, that's it for the Genji Spotlight, featuring all the talents, all the abilities, and all the heroic abilities. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think of everyone's favorite cyber ninja coming in from Overwatch to the Nexus for the very first time. Feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video, and it would be my pleasure to welcome you back on the next one. For now, have a good one, and talk to you soon.